Beautiful morning. Almost getting closer to the morning. Oh yeah, oh yeah. How y'all feel out there? It's a beautiful evening. Yes, indeed. 11 o'clock hour. The magician time. We are here. How y'all feel out there? Hope y'all feeling good. Hope y'all feeling godly. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way in. Take out that frustration, the day, all that stress, whatever they said you couldn't do. Take it out on a like button. Oh yeah. So today we're going to get into some more of this spiritual healing. That's what we need. We need some of that spiritual healing. So we want to know because again, Christianity, these religions, these Bibles are so intricate to our lives. They are very important. Some of us don't know how we ever got along without it, right? Like so since they're so important to us and so vital to our what we have been told as our culture, let's kind of go back to the origins of it. I know I personally would like to know who was the first black preacher. Like, where did he come from? Like, was he a Christian? Was he a Hebrew? Did he convert to Christianity? Was he Jewish? Right? Like, who was the first Hebrew? You know what I'm saying? I mean, who was the first Christian preacher? Like, did he have a revelation? Did God talk to him? Bluestone Corner Church. Peace to the guys, cuz it's crazy. I don't know if he went to Bluestone Corner Church, but he might. He might have went there though. We're gonna find out today what church did he go to, what state, what city, what country. Right. So let's get into it because it gets tricky. You know what they say? It gets tricky. It's tricky. All right. See what we got.
Okay, so what we want to do today is we want to get into something that always wanted to, we always talk about, but we never have the exact information. So this is going to be one of my projects that I work on. Stuff like this is a trail. This is a trail of these places, and we're just going to follow this trail. And I invite you all to follow this trail too. To do your own and research on the side and stuff, and investigate where this trail leads. This is a crazy trail. So of course we want to know. We always say, black people, you got your Bible from slavery. You know what I'm saying? Slave master gave you that Bible. Put that shit down. But we don't never have the actual proof. I don't have me personally. I say
Damn, I got the same spill. I got the same story. Uh, It's the truth.
we just want to get their take on religion, you know, in African American history. Not religion as African American history. Religion is not our history. It's just a little piece in it. So we had to go all the way to London town to get their take on it. So let's get their take on it. We're gonna scroll down. Um, I'm gonna be pulling from this up during these little times that I come back and forth to this topic. So um, I don't necessarily need to read it right now, but I'll just dive into a little bit of what they're saying. Um, Remember, the 18th century is the 1700s. So as African Americans embraced Christianity beginning in the 18th century, go down. Sorry, beginning in the 18th century, especially after 1770, they gathered in independent church communities and created larger denominational structures such as the African Methodist Episcopal Church, the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church, and the National Black Convention. Now, how many of these did they actually create? They said that they created, they gathered and created. I would just say they gathered. I wouldn't say they created. Maybe they created one, but we're at the beginning, so we don't know anything today, right? We're just trying to find out what's happening here. Who's the first? They sent around start giving me an exact dates of the first. So this is just an overview. And they give the nationals, the big ones in the beginning. African Methodist Episcopal Church, African Methodist Episcopal Zion. Like, whoa, they just added a Zion, that's it. And there's a lot more to it. It's intricate, but we'll get deeper. And National Baptist Convention. So those are the three main ones. This is later, the last one. These two formed around the same time.
All right, my bad. This is my old stuff. Let's breeze through it. Um, so the black religious institution served as context in which African Americans made meaning of the experience of enslavement. So they saying that the Christianity is the reason, is the meaning for their enslavement. We talked about that earlier today with the Hebrew to Jewish using the curses as the reason for their enslavement. You know what I'm saying? Using their covenants and using these promises as a reason for this enslavement. Okay. So let's keep going. Interpreted their relationship to Africa and charted a vision for a collective future. So this is what the church has done for us. The church has charted um, a vision for a collective future. You see what I'm saying? And it has interpreted a relationship to Africa. Like, y'all didn't have no relationship, and it wasn't translated. They had to be an interpreter of the relationship between you and Africa. You see? All of this comes from out of these churches. Okay? The vision for the future that we don't have, that didn't get us nowhere, come out of these churches.
Just like, here we go. I like this topic. In addition to often hidden covert religious activities, wait a minute. Okay. In addition to often hidden covert religious activities in the invisible institution of slave religion, antebellum, which is before the war, I'm trying to say before freedom, antebellum, what? Okay, African American Christians have developed churches that provided arenas for independent interpretation of Christian teaching and practice, as well as a platform for political organizing. Early independent Baptist churches included the Silver Bluff, Georgia church, led in the 1700s by David George. He lived from 1740 to 1810, and the First African Baptist Church of Savannah, Georgia, founded in 1783 by Andrew Bryant. He lived from 1737 to 1812.
Now let's just notice that all of these churches are starting in the 1770s. Same time they got revolution brewing. 1770s is when they get in the church organization. Is when they start and see, like, they started off up here saying hidden and covert religious activities. So you got to understand that these churches are the fostering ground for these covert activities. You see what I'm saying? Let's dig a little deeper though. Let's dig a little deeper.
Give me a choice. This brother, this man is the charges responsible. His page is slow. His page is slow. It goes slow down there, but by Richard Reed. You know, this is new. Richard Reed. I want to give you props because he's on a case. But he's doing it a different way. We're going to do it a different way too.
All right, so let me tell you what this is. So this is an article by this black man right here, and he's giving you a history of preachers in America. Now, again, all these preachers come out of one state. Y'all think they coming out of New England first. They don't come out of New England first. We're about to find out where they come out of. But this brother right here tells us in his opinion. So he gives us the following article is about the black people, events, places, and the lives they live within the borders of the state of South Carolina since 1670. The descriptions are only a sampling from the years of their history upon those soils, as it contains the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right? This chronology will reflect and include them all. So here we go. He starts it off. I didn't make this up. He started it off on 1670, March 15th. We coming up on the date. Colonel William Sale brought 3 Negro slaves, right? The first to South Carolina, landing at Bluffs Bay. So this brother just broke down the history of slavery in South Carolina. In 1670s when they brought the first 3 slaves in. All right. The first words the new settlers heard from the West Indians was a welcome in broken Spanish. Heidi Diddy. So the people that they brought here were West Indians. The first words these new settlers heard from the West Indians, from the Westo Indians, was a broken Spanish, Heidi Ho. All right. Let's keep going though, because he's going to get into the good, the bad, ugly.
He put us on a case though. They said 1770. That should put an antidote. All these, you should check out his website, the T and contact us with stuff. But this is highly important to me. 1743. Reverend Alexander Gardner of the Church of England began a school for black students. And what did he do? He purchased 2 slaves, Harry and Andrew, and trained them to be teachers. Okay, it was messing up. Let's read it again. What did he do? Don't let him mess you up, man.
In 1743,
don't let him mess you up. He trained, he purchased 2 slaves, Harry and Andrew, and trained them to be teachers. Now,
so this is 1743. This is after the 1735 Negro Act, right? Right? Which is after 100 years of fighting. The Gullah Wars, they still fighting, right? It's because the Gullah War is actually like 150 years, right? They still fighting. 1770, I mean, in 1743, they got 10 of the 13 colonies. But now they decide that they're going to buy some slaves. They purchase 2 slaves so they could start a school for black students. How does that sound? I'm telling y'all, one, y'all don't understand slavery like y'all think y'all do. But how about your God, your Lord, your Savior sanctioning the purchase of 2 slaves, Harry and Andrew? Oh, y'all think I'm playing. I ain't coming to play with y'all on this Sunday night. We getting some spiritual healing tonight. Don't worry.
That doesn't tell us everything. It just tells us something.
It's
Let's read this again. Reverend Alexander of the Church of England This is the Protestant denomination. This is the real deal. Began a school for black students. But what did he do in this school? The Church of England sponsored person. He goes and purchased 2 slaves, Harry and Andrew. And they say so he can make them teachers. Is that what you think? If you teaching them to be,
This is slave making doctrine. This is slave making religion. Of course they're gonna buy 2 slaves. Of course they're gonna buy 2 slaves because they're teaching them to make more slaves. This is a slave making religion. The Bible is put into the hands of slave makers. They wanted to get a school of black students so they could make them slaves. Cause see, again, I'm telling y'all, like, if y'all don't know the goal of this Christianity, it's the goal of a colonizer. This is the goal of a person to make you a slave. This is history. You know what I mean? I didn't come to play with y'all this Sunday.
if you're teaching them to teach the Bible, wouldn't they be priests? Let's find out. Let's dig into this guy, the culprit. He's the guy we always said. Who gave you that Bible? The slave master. Well,
who gave you that
church,
Bible?
Reverend
Who gave you that Bible? This nigga
Alexander here just brought 2 live Negroes. They were live. They were 2 live Negroes, Harry and Andrew, and trained them to be teachers. Well,
and look at his name. His name is
Garden. This man. Let's see who he was. Reverend Alexander, church clergyman. Now I can say little is known about him, but that would be a lot.
Look at his name though. His name is Garden. You see that? He's the garden. He's here to give you the garden to eat, and he's going to nurture these 2 young men and these 2 young Adams, to be Hebrews, to be the chosen people. He's going to nurture these 2 young slaves. He's going to indoctrinate these 2 little slaves. Because again, if you tell the 2 slaves that they was here because they kidnapped and they were oppressed, and it's the doctrine, it makes sense. They slaves. These are real 2 live slaves that they purchased. They don't care about they was kidnapped and we don't believe in the theft of people. No, the church is with the bullshit. The church has started it. The church is propagating it. So who is the gardener? Because that's important. His name, Alexander Gardner, the Greek gardener, right? He's the Greek gardener. And that's what they're promoting, Greek philosophy. I love it. Oh, I love it.
There's actually a lot known about him. He was a prominent man of his time. You have to understand. He was sent to America by the church. So let's dig into the story. He was a Scottish Episcopalian. People, these Episcopalian shits, don't get caught up in it. It's a trick.
Episcopalian is Catholics.
Educated at the University of Aberdeen in Scotland.
No, Episcopalian, Maryland. Anglicans.
In 1719, he went south to Carolina. He went to South Carolina, then part of the American colonies, as the Bishop of London's commissary, and became the rector of the Episcopalian St. Philip's Church in Charleston. Now this is important, guys. It's important because we're trying to figure out. We saying not only did the slave master give you some shit, was teaching you about Jesus, but the slave master's government was ordaining niggas to be preachers. Huh? How about that? This is incendiary. Or maybe it's just history. He was a prominent figure in the early history of Charleston, then known as Charlestown. Also remembered for his efforts to censor the evangelist George Whitefield. And they have books and arguments and articles and letters back and forth about these guys. Whitefield is an evangelical priest.
So let's keep going, right? As well as so we want to skip here. We want to go to the part as well as supervising other clergymen in the area, he took an interest in Charleston Free School, which was the school for blacks, right? And then he changed it to the so-called Negro school. You see that? That's what we just read about the other way, right? Which was supported by the Church of England Society for the Propagation of the Gospel. This is when they start becoming dangerous. This is when they start weaponizing the religion. They got a society for the propagation of the gospel and they buying slaves. They got a society for the propagation of Jesus that buys slaves to teach Jesus. This is a slave making doctrine, one might say. One might have to believe that. Let's keep going. So they changed the name, right? They changed the name. So
Royal Charter.
The United Society, also known as US, is the United Kingdom-based charitable organization. First incorporated under the Royal Charter, means by the Charter of the King, 1701, right? As the Society of the Propagation of the Gospel in foreign parts, right? The only foreign part, 1701, is America, right? The organization of the Church of England is the missionaries. So this is what missionaries is doing. They coming into town and they buying slaves from locals, buying Indians, because again, these ain't no Africans. Not with a name like Harry. Harry is not a African name. It's not in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? You might say, what is Haru? Okay, you got it. I ain't gonna argue with you. Y'all tripping. But these ain't no Africans. They speak in English. And they want to make them Christians, Christian preachers, more or less. This is the propagation of the gospel. This is what they here to propagate. Y'all see how crazy this is? To follow a religion that's willing to buy people, to teach people. It ain't pure to them. It ain't real to them. They ready to buy you. They ready to, you know what I mean? They gonna reward the people that's stealing people. Like imagine the church ain't just turning the other cheek. They supporting the theft of people. With 300 years of history, the society has supported more than 15,000 men and women in mission roles with the Worldwide Anglican Communion. See what I'm saying? These is missionaries. They colonizers. They colonize the foundation and mission work in North America. That's their job. That's their job. Don't think about England. Don't think about China, South America. No, buddy. They bringing in their missionaries first. This is what they do.
Yo, God, you gotta watch these guys. Current activities. Project work includes community-based health care provisions for expectant mother, for those suffering from HIV and AIDS. People still got AIDS? I'm sure, yeah. As well as educational books. These people, they involved. I love the British. I love the British. I love the British. I love the
They still out here meddling and dabbling and dealing with mothers trying to keep the birth rate down.
Oh yeah,
Things to that sort.
Romans, folks. Yep, they just holding me down, holding my spot for me. I get it. What you about, baby?
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't want that. That's twerk. Oh, no, right.
This get crazy. It gets crazy. Watch this. If you now know they buying people, you now know they buying slaves, right?
See, what we have
They
to
got
do is
no
we have to
chill,
say, okay, well, cool, he bought two slaves. Well, obviously, what they weren't white slaves. So, who are these guys?
right? Harry and Billy, they
Did he
weren't
buy
white
two
people.
black slaves? What was he planning on doing with these guys? This is something else. This is a whole nother research part. This is I got something going on.
Let's keep
But
going.
I was trying to find.
We just kicking. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Hit the like button. We here. We digging deep into it. We not dealing with uh Absalom Jones and
So
Richard Allen. They
let's think about
let's do the
what
truth.
this actually was here. The first black preachers were bought. Two men bought Harry and Andrew. That's what the accusation. They were bought. And the Wikipedia didn't say they were bought. But here is a very good
It's a good reference.
in-depth analysis of the
I
whole.
know y'all like I like them peer-reviewed sources, them references. Here you go right here. It's about the Negro School, okay? The Charleston Negro School, perhaps the most sustained effort in promoting slave literacy by a single organization in early America, provides a remarkable case for investigating an earlier chapter in the history of African American literacy. So the Negro School, founded by slave owners to promote the Bible, is the greatest source of literacy. Yeah, they want you to fear God. They want you to fear your oppressor, to fear and to accept some sort of slavery. They see they use slavery to justify it and to interpret their oppression. You see? Opened in Charleston, South Carolina in 1743, the school provided a rudimentary Christian education for hundreds of slaves and free blacks in the Low Country until it closed in 1764. The school was supported by the Society for the Propagation of the Gospel in Foreign Parts, the missionizing arm of the Church of England. See, they hit you from every angle. They get you with the merchant, they get you with the missionary. Its purpose was to bring through the printed word Christian light. I showed y'all yesterday how their goal is to transform the pagan. You see this right here? The pagan darkness. Y'all gotta be, the Indian gotta be a Jew. So that way they can feel comfortable oppressing them. They gotta feel comfortable oppressing them. See? Of course, the SPG managed other slave missions in the North American colonies because, again, this is a slave mission. This is a slave mission. They're trying to get better slaves, they're trying to make better slaves. Other Christian organizations were involved. And I showed y'all this is what they're doing in the South. I showed y'all what they did yesterday in Harvard, how they went up in Harvard and got busy and made the first brick building was an Indian school.
So, you see what I'm saying? You want to say reading? Okay, cool. I'll let you say reading. I'm going to say they're here to propagate the gospel. I'm trying to. I got a couple things. I don't want. I mean, again, like I said, this is a very good article. You should check it out. Very good analysis, about 30 pages. I just want to get to some a couple of good parts I got.
But yeah, like, see, like this the stuff they're not gonna put out on the news, how they broke down Christianity, how they broke into the community with the slave missions. You know what I'm saying? With the slave missions, they ain't gonna break it down. We about to get into it though.
They used to brand on their slaves right here. Right here, society. You know what I mean?
So look, the letters SOCIETY were burned onto the chest or backs of all Cordington slaves until 1733. This is see like they had a mission in the islands, you know what I mean, where they was trying to make Christians, but they couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? This is Christianity. Christianity is a slave making doctrine, buddy. You know? Hold on. It's a slave making doctrine.
Sentiment upon these following conclusions. So this is what he offers to do. But what again?
All right, so this is the plan. This is how they come up with the idea to, you know what I mean, like to purchase whole bodies of slaves.
You got it up, fuck it. You know, they clearly echo Gibson's touching the most intellectual method.
Here we go, right here. It says Reverend Alexander Gardner and was appointed commissary, right, of the Carolinas, Georgia, and the Bahamas in 1729, feeling no small amount of pressure to increase significantly and rapidly the number of slave converts throughout the Carolina Low Country. Gardner informed London of his plan in 1740, a blueprint for plantation pedagogy, right, that clearly echoed Gibson's, touching the most effectual method for instructing the Negro in the principles of our holy religion. As it has been a matter of my long and serious attention, I shall now humbly offer my final settlement upon it in these following conclusions. What do you conclude, Garden? These included 5 points. One, relinquishing the attempt to instruct the whole body of slaves of so many various ages, nations, and languages, focusing only on home-born slaves, under 10 years of age, children, nurseries. Ain't that what they say yesterday? Right? Preschool, get start, head start, right? Of age as a prospective student, recognizing the neglect of slave masters and the failure of white schoolmasters to teach slaves, shifting the work of instruction to Negro schoolmasters. You see how I switched from white schoolmasters to Negro schoolmasters? Homeborn, American, Indians. This is what they're not trying to say though, because none of this is talking about Africans, right? Now they talking about homeborn from here and equally property, equally a slave as the other slaves, but educated for this service and employed in it during their lives. Missionaries. See what I'm saying? And finally, requesting private contributions from local planners to supplement the society's charity. So this is what they are doing.
Instructing the Negro, you know.
This is what they are here doing now. He wrote the plan. He sent it back to London. And he got the okay. He said he wanted 3 or 4 slaves, right, to purchase on behalf of the society. 3 or 4 or 5 male slaves not under the age of 12, not exceeding that of 16 years, and for these slaves to receive instruction. You see what I'm saying? Like, we got to understand how the lengths that they'll go to colonize you, the lengths that they'll go to brainwash you. Like, that's why it's like, you got to kind of be wary of the people that they sending at you with this foreign mumbo jumbo. A nigga talking about, so yeah, they wear, this is a red cap. Like, Montezuma got a red cap. This other nigga, no, nigga, when Columbus came, he was giving out red caps. They come and giving out Moorish fezzes. We call them fezzes. They call them red caps. They'll take a slave and make him a preacher in the same breath. They don't care. We the ones caught up believing this shit. We got to see it for what it is. We keep thinking, oh, it was Absalom Jones, and they had a vision. These niggas had a vision, and God talked to them, and they wanted to be preachers. Yeah, nah, that's not how they playing over here. They stealing niggas and they buying niggas. You know, they want you young, dumb, and full of cum. Don't be older than 16. You know, they want to control your mind. See, that's the game with these people right here. So they created a whole school to make missions, to make missionaries, and to make Christians, and to make preachers. See, all of this is before um, you get up north with that old New England masonry stuff. This is 1740. This is way before Prince Hall. This is way before Richard Allen. See, after this hand, then you're gonna have Morris Brown. Like I got Morris Brown College in Atlanta. They used to have Morris Brown, you know, but he from South Carolina. But it's not about Morris Brown, it's about that ideology because Morris Brown is the first one that bought into this shit. He's the first child that they got to raise that didn't kill himself. Or what I just say? That didn't off themselves. What I just say? Yeah. Because these Negro preachers ain't have good luck. They ain't last long. You know what I'm saying? So I told you this 1740. Let's go back again real quick because before we get into it, of what happened to the people that they bought. But in 1740, the Carolina Assembly passed a revised Negro Act, which incorporated some anti-literacy provisions to quell whites' anxiety in the aftermath of the 1739 Stonewall Rebellion. So again, I'm telling y'all about the Gullah Geechee Wars. Stonewall Rebellion is a part of the Gullah Geechee Wars. I gotta look into the Gullah Geechee War video to find out more about Stonewall, but they scared now. The white boys are scared. White anxieties. See? So now they really pushing this religion. So that's why they bringing in, you know, hired guns now. They want them to buy slaves. They try to, you call it a Judas sheep. The Judas land. You know what I mean? They want to get the lead us to the slaughter because we got rebellions. We got 100-year resistance going on. So they don't want that. The explicit curtailment of educational opportunities for slaves was a main feature of the new statutory framework. So they're trying to keep black people from reading the history of these of anything, of how long they've been keeping people slaves, how long they've been abusing us. Keep that a secret, right? Right. However, the law did not prohibit the catalytical the the catalytical instruction of slaves, and its restrictions were directed at writing rather than reading. Moreover, the 1740 statute was not assiduously enforced, especially compared to the anti-literacy measures throughout the Atlantic. Right. So okay, let's keep going then. So now that's 1740. He done sent the letters out. He ready to go get some money to buy some slaves, so he could start teaching. He could start propagating the gospel. That's their goal. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep going. Hold on. Let's get to the good part. All right. Cause y'all know that they took a lot of this stuff off the internet while I was doing it. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie. Like you'll see it in parts of this video. Like I'm looking for a link that I got, and it'll be gone. I'm sitting here holding the link. I'm at the page, and it said in there. Like again, they changed the name to UN to US. That's recent, but because they're trying to hide this slave making history. They're trying to slide. They're trying to hide their slave making intentions. You know. So in October 1742, the society agreed to back his plan, hopeful that good would come of this evil. You hear that? They're making that up. That by realizing their full missionarizing potential, the evils of slavery and their own slaveholding practices could be mitigated. They authorized the purchase of 2 male Negro children, such as they shall be judged most proper for instruction. So he good to go now. He just got the bread. They ready to go downtown and go buy some niggas. Go get some bucks. They ready to go buck breaking. They ready to go hunting hunting for humans. You know what I mean? They ready to go shop till they drop for slaves and shit. The church. You know what I'm saying? This is the church y'all following. This is the people that gave you the Bible. They wanted you to have it so bad. They wanted you to have it so bad. But they was willing to not just mix the dope. They're gonna have junkies. They're gonna have junkies. They're gonna have addicts running around here pushing. Though Garden regretted that it took him so long to find the boys. That's what he was mad at. It took him so long to find the boys. Right? To our liking. Harry, 14, and Andrew, 15, seemed promising. Both baptized in their infancy and able to say the church catechism. The boys lived with Gardner under his maintenance and education without charge to the society, and within 8 months, Harry proved to be an excellent genius. Now look at this. I want y'all to read. I want y'all to see what happens to this. Harry proved to be an excellent genius in 8 months, and can now read the New Testament, right? Garden surmised that Harry will be ready to teach in about 6 months. So this is one of these slaves, Harry. He's a genius. This homegrown American Indian that they bought is a genius. They don't want to free him. Oh no, he a genius. God must have touched him. He not stupid. He not a savage. He a genius. Let's let him free. Nope. This Christianity. We got a good slave here. So Andrew, by comparison, the other one, seemed of a somewhat slower genius, but a milder and better temper. Now watch how they play this, right? Requiring less authority and inspection over him. Garden intended for one slave to teach the other for one or the other of the best, or for one slave to teach at Charleston and for the other to be employed in a like manner in one of the best settled country parishes, right? Under the care of the missionary there. So the commissary clearly imagined this scheme replicating itself throughout the province. They wanted to buy slaves, more slaves than anybody, so they can make them preachers. The church don't care if you're a free believer. The church is into slave making. He put a Gardner publicly announced in the local newspaper his plans for Charleston School. And since the schoolmaster was Harry, right, was the black schoolmaster was sufficiently qualified. And with donations from local farmers, families, the school opened in September of that year. Now let's keep going. For little over 2 decades, the slave boy instructed 20 and 40 students each year. The slave boy. So this is 1943. The slave boy is instructing 20 to 40 students each year. After 1 year, Garden reported to London that the school succeeds even beyond my first hopes and expectation, with 60 slaves in regular attendance. They're not trying to stop slavery. They're not trying to free you. They're not trying to get you close with God. They're trying to impose a curse. They're trying to exploit you. They want to make you a slave, oppress you with this oppression, depression doctrine. Nobody gonna tell you that they buying niggas to preach. Nobody gonna tell you that they purchasing slaves to, to spread the gospel. Nobody talking about that. This the truth. We're gonna get some spiritual healing today. We want to pull the scabs off this spirituality, off this religion posing, disguising that spirituality. This religion, this is slave making, this is colonization. This ain't got nothing to do with spirituality. We got to separate this. These people ain't spiritual. You're going to buy some people, use them for 20 years to make other slaves. Eight months later, the school was still expanding, teaching 55 children during the day and 15 adults in the evening. Out of the mouth of babes, right? Each of Garden's reports describes the school's accomplishments in the most sanguine terms. The school was flourishing, right? The devil's flourishing, because if the school is flourishing, that means that he making slaves. If the school is flourishing, that means that they indoctrinating people. If the school is flourishing, that means that people buying into these curses, people accepting their suffering, people accepting their servitude. If the school is flourishing, do y'all understand this? Continued prosperity is our continued destruction. Full of children, full of they still in our future, still in our future. And a decade later, going on with all desirable success, turning about 20 school scholars each year. Such regular reports were required by London, but they were also a part of Garden's promotional effort to obtain much needed books and material. You see what I'm saying? Like this is how they playing. This is how they playing. He gonna take you and he gonna use you to death. He gonna take you and he gonna use you up. Because again, you know they didn't mention Andrew. They didn't mention Andrew in this book. They're talking about Harry. Harry's such a genius. He's such a good student, right? But let's talk about what happened to Andrew. Because they don't talk about it.
This presents a severe case of separation education. You have to understand now they got these two black guys that they used to be slaves. They still slaves, but they teaching other slaves, so they kind of separate because
Imagine they still slaves teaching about freedom and equality and justice and the Lord God will make a way and trying to bring you into a religion. See, like when we said yesterday about um are your ancestors cowards or the ones that killed themselves? Were they brave? Like got you hating yourself, separation, anxiety, separation by education. That's what they're doing. They're separating you through indoctrination because now you cursed. And if I don't accept your curse, we separate. If I don't accept that I could go to hell too, we separate. Now watch how bad this gets because they don't talk about Andrew now.
the slave they teaching the Bible, so you gotta act. You living like a priest. You a priest. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really interact. You can only interact with other priests because that's the same vibe y'all on. And if y'all gonna do something behind doors, y'all just gonna keep it to, you know what I'm saying? So they separate now from the whole fucking society because they spitting this whole shit. And now it was like some bullshit. Nobody really digging it, but
They call it, this is what they say, describes the an alienating experience of educational imperialism. What? I couldn't have said that no better. I called it colonizer. He said it's educational imperialism, it's religious imperialism, it's mental imperialism, it's psychological imperialism. That's what this shit is. Educational imperialism, right? Indoctrinational imperialism. So Harry and Andrew struggles to conform to Christian doctrine and to share their knowledge of print most likely earned them only rebuke from their masters, right? Huh? And derision from many unconverted slaves. Because they at work. They at work. How many slaves y'all turn today? How many tricks y'all turn today? Y'all out here preaching that gospel or what? You gonna get, like, imagine getting whipped because you ain't recruiting nobody. You ain't got a packed house on Bible study. You gonna get a whipping. You getting rebuked for because you ain't preaching hard enough. You ain't I mean, like, it's a show. It's a fakeness. It's it's survival for these niggas. It's survival. Like I said, we can't be mad at them because we don't know what Harry and them had to go through. We don't know. I mean, they got out here putting on a good face because they gonna get home and get whipped by these preachers, by these no good preachers and bishops. They gonna whip them. They gonna starve their food. They gonna lock them in the basement, make them sleep under the bed. You still got to work around the barn and the farm while you doing this educational imperialism. You still a slave. You still a slave and shit. So they don't want to talk about it. We're gonna skip to the bottom because I want y'all to know what happened with Andrew. Though none of the SBG reports indicates any problems with Harry, right? I'm at the bottom. The slave teacher,
it makes sense.
was rather suddenly deemed maniacal and what? Prolificate, right? After 21 years of ostensibly loyal service and effective teaching. So what did they do to Harry? They put Harry in a fucking mental house. They said that nigga went crazy. After 21 years of teaching that bullshit, they didn't let him free. They didn't give him a pension. They didn't retire him to the rectory. No, they sent him to the crazy house. The local vestry, a governing body of lay church members, ordered in 1768 that Harry, the Negro that keeps the school at the parsonage for repeated transgressions, be sent to the workhouse and to be put in the madhouse, there to be kept till orders from the vestry take him out. So the church, the same people that bought you, that used you up, drove you crazy, then they just throw you away to the madhouse. Harry, the Negro, not the Negro preacher. Nah, now he's just the Negro that keeps the school. You know what I'm saying? Now you're the nigga that keep the school. You sound like they got you sounding like a janitor. Like you keep the grounds of the school or something. Like you just work out. You know what I'm saying? The workhouse was Charleston's penitentiary for recalcitrant slaves. Owners brought incorrigibles there to be whipped and broken. You see that? Conditions at the nearby insane asylum are much less clear, but they could not have been agreeable. You know what I mean? And church records do not ever indicate Harry's release. That's what's gonna happen to you. They're gonna drive you crazy. They're gonna drive you crazy. Then they're gonna drop you off at the at the madhouse. You know, so when y'all go to church, man, think of Harry. Think of Harry, the Negro preacher. The homegrown, the one that gave 21 years of service to these niggas. You retire at 25. They couldn't wait 4 more years to let him retire. The church put that nigga in the madhouse. And we don't hear about Andrew. Like Andrew, fuck around and off himself. It was sending him out to the country and he was getting going. But this is the future. This is what happened to these colonizers, to these missionaries, to these people that believe. You know what I'm saying? To all these believers out here. Nobody want to be a knower. You know what I'm saying? You gotta stop believing. Definitely gotta stop believing because it ain't getting us nowhere. They willing to buy people. Peace to the gods. They willing to buy people. You know, how many of y'all would think that the Church of England would buy some slaves to teach the gospel? How many of y'all Christians would? And y'all say, hey, yeah, I would, because I would think I wouldn't put nothing past them. Right. So if you wouldn't put nothing past them, don't take what they pass you. I mean, don't trust what they pass you, buddy. They don't mean you no good. They'll use you up. Man, I hope that helps. Hope that enlightens some questions out here today. If you were wondering how did Christianity come to America, how did it get a foothold, and who was the first preacher, the first believer? We'll get into the second ones and the real preachers, the ones that really bought the bait. Because again, this is 1740, 1742, 1743, up until 20 years of 1760. That's when they start talking about the New England dudes. But by that time, 20 years, they done grew up a lot of kids. They done push 20 kids every year. So out of 20 kids, just imagine if 2 of them believe the juice. How many of those 2 gonna grow up to be fantastic, dynamic preachers? Yeah, that's called Morris Brown. Morris Brown is that fantastic, dynamic preacher that bit the bait. Because again, that's their goal now. They ain't gonna keep paying for niggas. They ain't keep buying niggas. Their goal is to nurture, to foster the kids that they indoctrinate, to reinforce their indoctrination. They want to get them young and dumb. Yep. So if nobody told you today, I love you, love being in love with you. Peace to the gods. Peace to Beyond Smith in a building. Peace to Davy in a building. Bluestone Corner Church. Oh yeah, oh yeah. See y'all next one. Peace.